conversation. There's something interesting that Professor Omenya had mentioned earlier on. Are there any circumstances under which the presidential term may be extended apart from when we're in a state of war? For example, should the Supreme Court nullify the presidential poll, then place culpability on IBC? Can IBC be restructured without having a constitutional crisis whereby the 60 days will lapse before they're able to do a rerun, and therefore having a president stay beyond the term that was anticipated?
I think so. That right now the president is not able to do some functions of the president, like selecting a new panel. In case there is nullification and we have a president who cannot do that, then we are in a crisis. And that crisis is usually called in the Kenyan language a nusu mkate situation, where now the big boys again are called to the table and they are told, guys, Kenya is bigger than all of us. You know, let us see how to share this thing until maybe the right time for another election. And there are theories that that could be a very good place for some. Remember the issue of, in Africa, our problem is transition of power. We do very good in a lot of things, but transition of power always, in fact, is the main cause of war or civil war in most of the African countries. We don't transition very well. And this election or this time is the transition moment where we are totally leaving one president to move to another. But again, I'm trying to avoid the two extreme. One extreme is the IBC bashing, that I find that it's an impulse of most Kenyans to just bash IBC and make it a boogeyman. If things don't go okay, IBC is to blame. That I find no basis, especially in this election. So that whatever goes wrong, it's IBC's fault. You know, they were not funded well. The 4 handshake commissioners came less than a year to the time of election. And remember, this was a delay, that the idea of our revisiting what happened in 2017 was postponed. Instead, we saw BBI, and there was hope of referendum. So the commission was to be kept intact to navigate and gently guide us through referendum. So the impulse, Kenyans must avoid, in my view, the impulse to bash IBC for everything that goes wrong. On the other side, I don't want to be Puritan and just say IBC are perfect. I think that there could be ways of improving even a good institution to a better institution. But so far, from what I can hear, look at a serious petition coming, anchored on Gidongo's affidavit, that 2 days later, he come and say, oops, I, under oath, misstated some things. And I want to reclarify my own affidavit before even people get to court. And out of that, somebody's already calling for IBC disbandment. I think that is being dishonest. We are seeing a situation where the chair on the first day consistently said, I was under pressure, I was visited, I was intimidated, I am hurt. We saw people climb up the podium and put the fear of God on chair by beating him. And other commissioners. Some are hurt. Some are actually in the hospital. Nobody's talking about any of these bad manners. Nobody's talking of a situation where we saw, and that is what I was seeing even with Kakamega, so far nobody will complain until the vote is tallied, verified, and the winner is declared. It's when you hear, by the way, there was this, there was that, there could have been this, there could have been this and that. Election by its nature is competitive. But election is very important. It's like the mother's milk to democracy. But it appears that we only embrace it when it works for us and dismiss it when it does not work for us. So I don't see any basis of anybody calling into a new IBC in the hope that Supreme Court will nullify the election, then there will be another commission, then maybe that commission will now find the right candidate. Those are too many wishes to put in one petition, and it might require, that is a faith-led person. That person have more faith than Father Abraham, because they are not being realistic, and it's annoying. Because why, I mean, how dare you have so much faith than the rest of us that one, you bring in things that are falling apart and the center cannot hold, and people are pulling away like Idongo, and then you still have hope that it will find the day and it will win, and then you have hope that this Chebukati, who refused to be intimidated, who stood at crucial juncture to say, no, this is the results of Kenya, the results are over at polling station, and lost all these other issues, lost the commissioners, whom we saw in the floor for the 4 days announcing the results. What do we see instead? They are in Serena. What do we see instead? The mathematic or arithmetic, the fake one, you know. So do we need to have qualification to know how to tally? If you are a commissioner, maybe you don't need to be a mathematician, but surely one of the qualifications should not be that you suck in maths, that 0.1 become 140,000. Kenyans, because this thing is railroad to dock at a certain point, have left all this and have kept one narrative. There is dissent in the commission. There is referendum in commission, 4 against 3. What were we expecting them to do? Do we expect that after Kenyans have voted, the commission again vote about our results so that we can have dissent, and then so somebody can pull the majority versus minority of the commission? What is the purpose of the commission? Is to count, tally. Where were the agents from the polling station? Looked at the results, carried the form, their duplicate, came to Bomas. Where were the results? Remember the mysterious server this time. Everybody was invited. You saw in the middle of the 2 days after election, none other than senior counsel, our senior Martha Karua, saying, I have gone to the portal, I have tallied, and I can confirm that the results are in our favor, but being a respectable Kenyan, I cannot announce. Now, all of a sudden, you hear that things were hacked. So I don't think that we should blame IBC for no reason at all, just because we need a sedative for things that went wrong.